What is up, guys? It is Adam Searan, and today the deep dive into Quantiloop Pro continues. We're going to talk about the ins and outs, literally, of Quantiloop Pro. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get looping. Today we're going to be using one of my favorite audio interfaces to talk about the ins and outs of Quantiloop Pro. This right here is the Zoom U24. It's a 2-input, 4-output audio interface, and it works so great. In fact, I've played this setup with Quantiloop on small stages and writers' rounds, and big stages and big festival stages, bar stages, all the stages, and this thing has just been super rock solid. I'm going to show you how to connect this, but remember, an audio interface is an audio interface. So the things I'm going to show you today about connecting this with Quantiloop Pro are still going to apply to you, even if you're using something different. This is what we're going to use today. Let's dive in.
To get started, you're going to need a couple things to get connected. A USB-C hub if you're dealing with a current gen iPad or iPad Pro, or camera connection kit if you're dealing with older iPads, and at least an 18-watt power supply if you plan on charging your iPad while you're using it to loop. The other thing that you'll need is the proper connection cables. You see here a 1/4 inch and an XLR. It's a microphone cable. Now you should be ready to go.
A couple of cool things about this interface: when you're using this right here for outputs 3 and 4, you actually do have an individual volume control of that, and then this controls your main outs. You also want to make sure that on your interface you have this little dial. It's a mix dial that is direct inputs. Okay, so that means you'll hear all of these, and then this is your playback, which is where you'll hear Quantiloop. I play every show with this turned all the way over because I monitor everything through Quantiloop. I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? And this is a 2-in, 4-out audio interface. So if you get an audio interface that has 4 ins and 4 outs, or 8 ins and 4 outs, or 8 ins and 8 outs, you can actually use your audio interface more like a mixer. So that way, like if you're a busker, or maybe you just don't want to carry around an extra mixer with you, that is fine. Especially if you're going to be your own sound guy, you can use your audio interface and Quantiloop more like a mixer as well. So it's pretty cool. You also have mute buttons, which are really nice in case something goes crazy or wild. You can always do like an emergency mute there. The other thing is, if you put this on a pedal board, everything is top down, so you can see everything from where you're playing or where you're standing, and it's really easy to make adjustments. All right. This is the Zoom U24, and that is how you connect your device.
One thing I want to say really quick, see that auxiliary in port? If you have a 2-input interface, you can always go out of your effects board into the interface and use one channel, and then you can put your drum machine right here in this auxiliary port, or your keyboard or whatever, and then it's kind of like a free line level input because your guitar effects pedal is not going to add effects to the auxiliary in. It's a little trick that I use, especially for smaller sets where the setup is quick and easy. The teardown has to be fast.
Before you open Quantiloop Pro, make sure your interface is connected. If it's not connected, it's going to say this: connected to speaker. All right? That means you're not connected. Now, when your interface is connected properly, you're going to see the name of your interface pop up like this. Now you know you're ready to rock and roll.
All right, guys, so what I'm about to show you is one of the most important things that you can learn in Quantiloop. And this is gain staging your inputs. All right, first things first, we covered this a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to show you. All right, go into your inputs, select a plus sign, hit physical inputs, hit L for 1, R for 2. If you want to put a plugin on it, you can. But for now, let's keep it simple, okay?
what you're going to notice is these are both at about unity or 0, okay? I like to keep these level so that way I can adjust my gain on my audio interface. Okay, that way I have knobs and stuff to adjust the gain. The other thing I want to show you is, watch this. When I hit my guitar, all right, it's not going yellow or red. Okay, you can see I'm actually talking into a vocal microphone right now. But while I'm talking in the microphone, if I hit a high note, it's just like, even on the highest note I hit, it's just barely hitting that yellow point. That's where you want to stay, okay? So you want to strum your guitar, okay? And you want to sing in your mic. You want to be green all the way. If you see yellow or red, it's too hot. Now, you're going to see red whenever you hit a bass thing on your guitar, and that's okay. But if you hit a chunk, which is like that, and you see red or yellow, it's too hot. Adjust your volume down level on your interface, because if you loop while your signal is distorted, then it's gonna be distorted and sound like crap when it hits your main outputs. Now I'm gonna show you, watch. Whenever I record my guitar, all right, see how when I record my guitar, your output meters are gonna be over here, okay? You want those to be green. All right, if your input meters over here on the left-hand side are in the yellow or red, it's not going to sound good, okay? Then your output meters are going to be in the red. Now I want to show you another thing. Over here in outputs, I highly recommend you keep post fader activated if you want to do separate tracks. I don't really like sending separate input outs because it's not really necessary, okay? If you have these monitor things selected, you're going to be able to hear your microphone or your guitar through Quantiloop, okay? And these two things that I've got going on here, see, these are channel strips. So basically, like some of your high-end digital mixers, these plugins will allow you to have a noise gate, an EQ, and a basic compressor, which is very, very, very nice, okay? It gets a lot deeper than that. There's a ton more effects in the App Store. But if you look in your outputs, I want you to notice there's a main and a monitor. The difference between main and monitor is, see, I've got my main coming out of my left channel, and I've got my monitor coming out of my right channel. My monitor, I send to my in-ear monitor system, okay? And then my main goes out to my speakers or the mixer, okay? Now, the monitor will let you send a click track to yourself, okay? That will only be heard in your ears. Now, as you can see, up here in the right-hand corner, whenever I clear this out and I start a new loop, see how it adjusted that tempo? Well, it adjusts the click in my ears. So it's pretty cool. It's a rad feature, and that's the difference between the main and monitor when you're sending those out of your outputs. The other thing that I want to say about that is, you know, you can do that with a 2 input and 2 output audio interface. And like I just showed you in the video previous, if you have a guitar effects unit that has an auxiliary in, then you can just adjust, you can plug your drum machine or your keyboard or whatever into that auxiliary in port, and you can just adjust the volume of your drum machine or whatever from the actual unit itself. And then instead of just having the single guitar input or your guitar effects board, now you've actually got it's like a secret third input, and that's pretty cool. It's a trick that I've used for a long time, especially
for quick events where you have to set up and tear down. So with a 2 input and 2 output interface, you can also incorporate a keyboard or a drum machine that is outside of the iPad. It's pretty cool. Just make sure whatever guitar effects thing that you're using, that it has an auxiliary input on it, and then you should be golden and good to go. So hopefully this helps you get started and figure out how to set up your ins and outs. It gets really deep really fast. So this is only a starting point. I hope that this helps you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I will try to answer those. Well, that's it for today's video, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in to I Am the Band Music. If you want to get some merch to support what I'm doing, check out IamTheBandGear.com. There's lots of cool stuff on there. Also, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. We've got more videos coming up on apps, gear, and there's also going to be some new live performances for me and some new releases coming out soon. Thank you guys very much for supporting what I do, and until I see you next time, play it, sing it, mean it, y'all. Have a good one.